SuperTalk Mississippi and SuperTalk.fm.
Senator Angela Hill is with me. Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Good morning. Doing fine.
Wanted to talk about Common Core. Again, I over the weekend and since we last talked about this, I've seen several more articles. I got to tell you, Angela, I have not seen one positive article on Common Core. I have not seen one positive article. Everything I have seen on this has been negative or worrying about the overall objective of Common Core. So,
well, unless you're on the email list of certain groups that are pushing Common Core, you won't see very many positive things. You know, you will see mostly negative things, and you'll see people beginning to question Common Core. And I questioned it from the beginning, but you know, unfortunately, I did not read and compare the standards until a few months ago. And when I actually started to compare our Mississippi framework to the Common Core standards, that's when I really knew that there was some serious problems with Common Core, because Common Core is being lauded as a academically superior standards as compared to what other states have, and I'm not so certain that that's the case, because you know, just in my humble opinion, from being a teacher in the state of Mississippi and knowing the frameworks that we teach and speaking to some other teachers, we don't see the superiority in the standards from Common Core. In fact, we see that certain skills in mathematics that we teach in Mississippi are actually delayed under the Common Core curriculum, and we have some math teachers that are scratching their heads and saying, you know, what are we going to do if this is actually pushing our students farther, you know, into the grade levels with some of these skills in math, and we're already behind nationally in math according to NAEP and ACT. So, you know, we're scratching our heads saying, you know, how is this a superior group of standards whenever we're seeing skills pushed back, you know, to a later age in the math curriculum?
When I bring this up on Common Core, we don't get a lot of feedback, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because I believe in even this family, and this is the smartest, most educated, most degreed audience in media, television, any radio, or anywhere else. Because I think 85% of the audience, they don't understand it. Because I've had people on the air, and we're talking about the grading standards versus the curriculum. What is Common Core? We adopted it. Other states have adopted it. They just don't understand it. And when you try to put it in simplistic terms, I don't know if you can. I mean, can you? When there are people out there saying, "Look, I want to be concerned about this. It's my kids, but tell me why I should be concerned."
Well, what it is, it's a set of standards in English language arts and mathematics that have been developed by, you know, a group of national stakeholders, and this group of unified standards has been adopted by some 45 states, but we have some action pending in legislatures against this adoption in about 20 states. So we see some pushback, you know, in some of the other states as people learn more about it. And, you know, the most sensible thing that I've seen done probably is in Mike Pence's state, where he signed into law a bill that said no further rollout of Common Core in this state until we do a curriculum comparison and a cost analysis. And that's something that should have been done in every state before this thing was adopted. Is a curriculum comparison and a cost analysis.
All right, let me ask you this, because and we don't have a lot of time, but here's what I don't understand. And I know this is simplistic, but I'm sorry. If I ask somebody, is this has anything to do with a set curriculum that's being taught everywhere in the United States of America as one curriculum. So, and again, it was put forth by the governors, but apparently it seems to me, and most people think, that the Obama administration has kind of co-opted this and taken control of it, and they're using this now, and everybody's calling it Obama Core, and people like Phyllis Schlafly saying it's one of the worst things that could ever possibly happen, because from homeschool to private school to parochial school, dishing the money out, certainly to public schools, they will have to teach a curriculum put forth by a group of people that will be pushing socialism and other things on the kids, and you've got to teach it.
Well, the thing is that there's actually no listed curriculum with Common Core. So like in the English language arts, it doesn't specify that you have to look at certain literary works.
Yeah.
So these literary works that our students have been studying for years and years and years to help us understand how we came to be as Americans and how literature played a part, in the history of the English language. There's nothing in the Common Core that says these famous literary works have to continue to be studied. They can be replaced with informational texts that teach who knows what, as long as they have a certain level of complexity. And that's where the problem comes in with Common Core is, there is no set literature books that go along with Common Core.
Here's what most of us are asking. If you don't have a Common Core, a common teaching curriculum with all the schools in every single state, how is the grading system? How do you get a comparison? Because if there are a multitude of different curriculums, a multitude of different classroom books, a multitude of different teaching methods, how can you grade who's doing better than anybody else?
Well, you get a comparison based on your National Assessment of Educational Progress tests that are done through random samplings of, I believe, 4th and 8th graders in English and math. That gives you a sampling of how each school, how each district, how each state is doing as compared to the rest of the folks in the nation. And also when you take an ACT and SAT, you get a national comparison on those tests to show where you are as far as your percentile rank in student, school, district, and state.
Are you pretty satisfied that that's a pretty good judge of how we're doing?
I'm very satisfied that that's a good judge of how we're doing. And our state test that we developed, they give us no comparison as to how we're doing. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that we've made is hinging all the stakes, the high stakes, on an in-state test that compares us in a bubble. All these state tests that we've spent millions and millions of dollars on and we set our accountability standards to through these past years, they do nothing to compare us to a student outside the state of Mississippi. So we're basically testing ourselves in a bubble. And that does us no good. So basically everything that we've done from the time that we developed these state tests, I guess when No Child Left Behind was adopted, in my opinion, it's pretty much been a waste because it compares us to no one else outside the state of Mississippi.
Will there be any move in the next legislative session to put this on hold or to change it or anything like that?
Well, I intend to file the same bill that was passed in Illinois. Mm-hmm. I don't know, how successful I will be with that.
What will the bill say?
It's a reasonable bill, and it will say that we will not roll out Common Core any farther in the state of Mississippi until a curriculum comparison between Common Core standards and Mississippi K-12 standards is done, and until we do a cost analysis as to how much it's going to cost the state of Mississippi and how much it's going to cost these individual school districts to implement this program.
As far as you know, has the state taken any money at all from the federal government on this?
I'm sure they have. I can't tell you a certain amount, but there's been money, that's been out there to help get this thing rolled out.
I asked several people. They said we haven't taken any money on it. So if we've taken money, we're obligated.
Well, the thing is, we took money also on, developing a state insurance exchange, but, you see where that went. So because we've taken some federal money, and I can't tell you if we have or if we haven't, but I would suspect that we have taken some to initially get this thing started. But the thing is, we didn't get the race to the top money, and that was the big money that got folks to compete, and got folks to adopt the Common Core standards was in the stimulus, in the Obama 2009 stimulus was a race to the top money. And as a criteria to compete for this race to the top, you had to develop and participate in some type of national standards. Well, Common Core was the only thing out there, so that's when the apple got bit right there.
Quickly, we're almost out of time here. I want to ask you this. Are you satisfied so far what you see during the summertime and at least building the foundation for charter schools and the progress there?
I think it's a start. I think, having it limited to DNF districts is not going to do as much as we'd like to do because, there's some C districts that don't have a C school in them. So, I would like to have seen it be a little bit broader-based law, and the fact that you can't cross district lines, that's going to be another thing that's going to kind of hinder it, but it's a start.
We're going to have an educational roundtable coming up soon. We'd love to call you and have you be part of it, and I thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You got it. Senator Angela Hill.
SuperTalk Mississippi and SuperTalk.fm.